Okay, so I'm Daniel's son.
And I'm Dawson Young.
And today we're going to talk about the
American Revolutionary War.
Hey, you copied us.
So the American Revolution happened from 1763 to 1783. And the war was fought to declare our freedom from Great Britain. And as you can see here, this is the engraving from Paul Revere of the Boston Massacre.
So today we're going to be talking about the American colonists and how they came to be before the war, which are like major events in British reforms, the Constitutional Convention, the war itself, Lexington and Concord, Bunker Hill, Fort Ticonderoga, Staten Island, Saratoga, Valley Forge, Greene versus Cornwallis, the Battle of Yorktown, and a summary, and the end of the war.
So, the American colonists and the British. As most of you know, Christopher Columbus sailed across the Atlantic Ocean in 1492 and lands in the Americas with the Nina Pinta and Santa Maria. And they gave the natives multiple diseases and many people died. And word gets out to the Europeans that the race for the New World is on. So the Virginia Company, chartered by King James I, wanted to colonize the Americas. And they landed in present-day Virginia. And they create a new permanent settlement called Jamestown in 1607. And the Pilgrims, carried about 135 passengers on the Mayflower, went to the U.S. to practice their own religion. And you can see here, this is the first trip that Christopher Columbus went to the Americas.
Okay. And before the war, first there were the Townshend Acts. These acts basically put taxes on goods imported to America. So if you wanted to get like lead shipped in, there's a tax for that. And American colonists had also no representatives like the British government, and they saw these acts as abuse of power. The Boston Tea Party was like a retaliation against these acts, and these were political protests against taxes imposed by Britain. A group of patriots called the Sons of Liberty dressed up in Indian costumes and threw tea overboard. And in retaliation, the Boston Massacre. The Boston Massacre started with a British soldier looking for work, and suddenly a bunch of colonists started throwing rocks and snowballs at him. And it escalated until guns were fired and people were killed. And it was seen as a demonstration of British cruelty.
The Constitutional Convention. The problem was that Boston was being repeatedly harassed by Great Britain, and other colonies saw what was happening, and they were next. So 56 delegates from every colony participated in a meeting. The convention included people such as George Washington, John Jay, and Patrick Henry. The convention eventually reached a decision: tell the British to stop. When Britain declined, militiamen throughout the colonies began to arm themselves. They called themselves the Minutemen.
Now we have the start of the war, and that would be Lexington and Concord. It started with Thomas Gage, who was a British general, and he ordered 700 troops to go get the American colonists as they were storing ammunition in controlled bases. Paul Revere, a patriot, rode ahead to warn about the oncoming British troops, and that was what the famous Midnight Ride comes about. And the first engagement of the battles, or the two sides, was Lexington. The troops met up at Lexington, and in the confusion, someone shot, and that was called the shot heard around the world. In Concord, the American troops fell back, and more and more reinforcements began to show up for the Americans. The British troops had split up to go find ammunition, and this time the British troops were outnumbered. It resulted in an American victory, as the British, which is like the best power at the time, was defeated.
So the British were trapped in Boston after they retreated. after the Lexington and Concord. So then they made plans for the offensive of up Bunker and Breed's Hill. So this is Breed's Hill right here. This is where the battle was fought, and this is Bunker Hill nearby. And so Bunker Hill was a strategic point as it was high ground, and Britain tried to push uphill twice, but then they failed. On the final push, the British troops finally overran the hill. However, more British troops died than the Americans, but it still resulted in a British victory.
So moving away from all of like George Washington, we have Fort Ticonderoga. Colonel Benedict Arnold for the American troops set off alone for British Fort Ticonderoga up in like Pennsylvania, and they wanted to recruit reinforcements along the way. And you can see
This is Fort Ticonderoga, the map of Fort Ticonderoga, and the surroundings.
And along the way, they met the Green Mountain Boys, who were led by Ethan Allen. And Ethan got into a heated debate with Arnold. And after threatening to go home, Ethan Allen went with Benedict Arnold to go capture the fort with all its like huge guns. And the guns acquired went to kick Britain out of Boston on Dorchester Heights. And it was an astounding American victory.
And this is the Green Mountain Boys flag. Okay. So after the British retreat, they come back and they set up camp on Staten Island. So the British have more reinforcements. They have 130 warships and 25,000 troops, and they were sent to New York. And Camp for Britain set up on Staten Island, while American positions dug in Brooklyn Heights. So this is Brooklyn right here, and this is Staten Island. And the Americans waited for an attack to come. The British and American forces fought through the massive lines. However, another British force surrounded the American troops, and through this thick fog, George Washington made a last-minute escape through a river. And this was a British victory.
Okay, so it was the winter. Winter had come, and the troops were extremely discouraged. The British forces would never expect an attack in the winter because it's very like cold and nobody wants to fight them. So George Washington planned an attack in the winter, and because of mercenary forces from Germanic tribes were slowed down, called the Hessians, Washington attacked. He crossed the Delaware River, which is
This thing right here.
crossed the Delaware River and made a surprise attack. It sent a clear message to the British, and the war was not over.
Okay, so this is George Washington's troops' route. So they crossed the Delaware River and walked many miles to ambush the Hessians at Trenton, which was a big victory for them. So, Battle of Saratoga. So General Howe and Burgoyne planned to cut the colonies in half. Howe from Boston and Burgoyne in Canada. Howe abruptly abandoned his post and went for Congress in Philadelphia, forcing them to York. Burgoyne was left on his own. So after a debate with American General Horatio Gates, Benedict Arnold charged at the British and won. The Americans won the Battle of Saratoga, and it was a turning point of the war. It also influenced the French to come and join the war in American support. And this is an American victory.
Okay, so winter had come again, and this time George Washington's troops were at Valley Forge. The troop morale was low, and the troops were starving, and Washington's leadership was again called into question. Solution, well, not really a solution, it was just pure luck. Baron von Steuben, a Prussian, came along. He gave the men a real training, and he taught the men how to march quickly and better, shoot accurately, and other military training essentials. They came out of the winter a new and improved force. It was American victory.
Okay, versus Cornwallis. So after Britain losing in the north most of the time, the UK went south. They were wildly successful as they captured many cities, and the Americans sent General Horatio Gates. And Gates was destroyed after one battle with the British and Nathaniel Greene. After Gates losing severely, Washington sent Nathaniel Greene. Greene knew how to be clever to defeat Cornwallis, so Greene got Cornwallis' attention and led him north. After racing north, the British troops were exhausted and were defeated at the Battle of Guilford Courthouse. It was an American victory. As you can see here, Greene stretched Cornwallis' supply line really far, and Greene went across Greene went across a river and picked up some more reinforcements, came back, went to the courthouse, and defeated the British.
Okay. And there was a final battle of the war, the Battle of Yorktown. Cornwallis, after suffering a major defeat, retreats toward Yorktown. Washington, up in New York, had made it look like he was going to attack New York and General Clinton. However, it was just a decoy, as many of his own generals thought he was going to attack New York, and they joined the siege in Yorktown. Americans, right there, and the French here, laid siege on Yorktown. French ships also cut off their escape. And Cornwallis desperately called out to General Clinton for help, but unusually Clinton was relaxed and not very worried at the time. And after holding Yorktown for nearly a month, Cornwallis surrenders. Parliament just couldn't do it anymore and pulled Britain out of the war. It was American victory and the end of the war.
Okay, so the casualties. About 50,000 American troops died. As you can see here, not a lot of American troops were killed in battle. Most of them were from diseases, starvation during the winter. And the British troops, 4,000 British troops died, but 1,243 were killed were the Navy in the battle, and 42,000 deserted, and 18,500 died from disease. And the French troops, 10,000 people died, but 75% of that were from sea. And as you can see here, the Hessians or the Germans were 7,774 died from all causes, mainly from disease, and 1,800 killed in battle, and 5,000 Spanish troops died.
Okay, and the summary. The American Revolutionary War was one of the most influential and defining moments in our history or world history. It's also a fine demonstration of the quality of persistence in which George Washington had with the American troops. Through battles such as the Battle of Trenton and Saratoga, and through events such as Delaware Crossing and Valley Forge, American patriotism and ideas were put on full display. Thank you.
Thank you for listening.